What up guys? Today I'm gonna show you the type of groceries that I bought when I was on a bulk. The mindset that I go through is actually the same between bulking or cutting. I always start with protein first, then I fill up the rest of the calories with carbs and fat. One of the reasons why people feel like they're not in control of their diet is they're viewing bulking and cutting almost like splurging and suffering, like it's two different endeavors, whereas you should be treating it as the same, like your finances. Like you should always be saving. Sometimes you save more, sometimes you save less. So with the protein, sometimes you can go leaner and sometimes you can go fatter. If you treat it the same way, then you won't view it as two things that's pulling apart. You have the same mindset depending on what your goals are. All right, so when you're on a bulk, generally your calories and your fats are much higher. So that allows you to enjoy way more juicier and fattier meats. So even for ground beef, when I'm cutting, usually I'm looking for 90-10, 95-5, 97-3 even, but this one has 17 grams of fat, so you know how juicy this is gonna be. And also my favorite, rib eye steak. Look at all that. Ooh, I can hear it already. Put this on a grill, it's all smoky. Ooh. And then if you have a grill, what's awesome about bulking is you can have a whole thing full of steak, so you can cook all the lunches at one time. Because when you're bulking, you have to eat so much, you want to be as efficient as possible. Everyone knows when you're on a cut, chicken breast is one of the staples, right? It's super lean, but also it's easy to get dry. When you're on a bulk, you can afford more fats. So I like getting chicken thighs. And what's cool about chicken thighs, not only is there more fat and is it tastier in the meat, you can have more fat on the sides too. And if you want to have even more fat, like if your calories can allow it, you can even get it with the chicken skin. Because when you put that on a grill or oven and it crisps over, oof, it tastes so good. So when you're on a cut, this is almost impossible to fit in because of the high fat content, but we also all know how delicious and flavorful bacon is. So when I'm on a bulk, I take advantage of this at least once a week. Bacon and eggs, or chop up bacon, make fried rice with it. I freaking love it. Even on a bulk, if your fat is kind of low, then you can have turkey bacon. It's not as good as this one, so you still have options. Everyone has a busy schedule, so I'm a big fan of foods that are really easy to make. Quesadillas are extremely easy. You don't even really need a pan. You could just put this like literally directly on your stove, sprinkle some cheese, fold it in half, fold it over, or you can put it in the microwave, depending on how you like to do it. And this is an easy, quick meal to get calories in, bring up your fats, bring up your carbs, and also add a little bit of protein. When it comes to carbs and bulking and meal prepping, you got two options pretty much. You got bread or you got rice. Rice is a staple because it's so easy to make. You can make 5 cups at a time and make pretty much the entire week worth of carbs at one time. And if you get sick of it, another easy way is making sandwiches, because the bread, you could just keep it on the side and make fresh sandwiches whenever you want. As you guys know, there's a ton of different types of rice. Depending on how I'm seasoning it, I'll choose my rice based off of that. So for example, like I like sticky rice, like the Japanese or Korean style, if I'm just gonna leave it plain. But like the more American style, like, or even jasmine rice, where it's like a little bit fluffier, it's cool to put like some Cajun seasoning, some chicken bouillon. And so if I want to have a seasoned rice, I go with like a more fluffier texture. Another one of my carb favorites is pasta. I freaking love pasta. Fettuccine is my go-to. I like that it's nice and thick like that. And also, if you need extra protein, it's really hard to get it in, they got protein pasta too. This bad boy has 10 grams of protein per serving in the pasta. So you have all kinds of choices depending on the sauces you like to make. For me, I like something that's really simple like this. Tastes delicious. My go-to veggie for meal prepping, I'm looking for a veggie that, one, is gonna taste good long-term. The day I make it to 3 to 5 days later. Also, something that's not gonna stink up another food, because sometimes you'll make a veggie, you meal prep it, and then the other foods now taste like it. And I also like something that I can cook both on a stove and on a grill, so I have options. Asparagus is one of my go-to ones. It's really hard to make it bad. Even with just oil and salt, it'll taste really, really good. Broccoli is also another staple. What's awesome about broccoli, it's one of those veggies that over a long term, it stays crunchy, really easy to make. You could boil, you could steam, you could season it any way you want. and it's cheap, $169. Brussels sprouts, you could put it on an entire baking sheet, and if your oven can have multiple layers, you can make 3 sheets of Brussels sprouts, and you use the non-fat cooking spray for on a diet, or if you are bulking, then you could spray a ton of butter on it, and it tastes extremely good. You can make a ton of it at once. Bro, one of my favorite things about bulking, honestly, is just cereal. My ability to have a bowl of carbs and not worry about it shooting my calories over is amazing. So I get cereal and I get a fat-free milk. So pretty much it's a 0-fat meal with a high amount of carbs, and only when you're bulking is when you can enjoy something like that. So a lot of times when people think about bulking, they just think about stuffing themselves and going crazy. Obviously you want to do it in a strategic manner. So as much as you can, you still want to manage your calories in accordance to your goals. So what's cool about these baked options, if you go with baked chips, you can still have what you want, but if your calories aren't too crazy, you can still fit these in. But if you can, then you have a whole other section of flaming hot, you got nacho cheese Doritos, you got Cool Ranch, you got sour cream and onion, and you guys know I like honey mustard pretzels, Snyder's. That is, oh, my favorite. So I know a lot of people that might be new to bulking or they're hard gainers. One of their toughest obstacles is fitting all their fats in. Like I've seen people's macros with over 100 grams of fat when they're bulking, and they're like, how do I get that in? Nuts is a really easy way to get it in, and they have all kinds of flavors. Like this one is Smokehouse. This is one of my favorite. Honey roasted. Nuts are one of those things you could just snack on the entire day and you'll end up getting all the fats that you need. Go almonds, peanuts, cashews. They even got mixed ones. Some of them even got M&Ms, you know what I mean? So just the whole world is in front of you. Another macronutrient that is really hard for people to hit is protein, but that's so important because that's your basic building block of muscle, right? So I'm really a big fan of FAIRLIFE because now you could drink your protein too. These guys are high protein milks, and it's double the amount of protein than a regular milk. So for example, these guys are 13 grams of protein per cup. You down 2 cups and that's already 26 grams of protein. If you need extra carbs, get chocolate, get some sugar in there, bam. So ice cream, my favorite thing in the entire universe. And as much as I want on a bulk to just eat all the ice cream in the world, there are still specific macronutrients that you have to hit if you're trying to be strategic with your bulk. If you can afford high fat, high carbs, go ahead, grab the milkiest, chocolatiest ice cream you can find. But if you still have that sweet and cold tooth, but your fats are extremely low, I find these fruit bars are also awesome, and it hits that fix because they're 0 grams of fat. But they're still delicious, it's still ice cold, and it's still nice and round and long, and it fits really good in your mouth. So when it comes to bulking, people think they can just eat all the ice cream that they want in the world. That's actually not the proper way. You want to specifically and strategically hit your macronutrients, your carbs, your protein, your fats. And what's cool about the common freezer aisle now in almost every supermarket is they have high fat, high carb ones. They also have low fat ones. They have vegan options, they have gluten-free, they have high protein options. So pretty much you don't have to worry. You can satisfy that sweet and cold tooth, and all of these options are pretty much readily available in almost every grocery store I've been to. So don't be afraid, you'll still be able to have fun. One of my favorite things in the world ever since I was a kid. You know, when you're bulking and meal prepping, one of the toughest things is everyone's busy, right? Or you might have meal prep, but you might have just forgotten about that one meal. What I love about DINO nuggets is you can pop it in the toaster oven, microwave, bam, right then and there, your food is ready. So you never have to skip a meal where you have to hit your macros, your fats, your proteins, your carbs. It's all right here. The reason why I like these quick and easy foods is when you're bulking, when you skip a meal, all of those calories get piled onto the next meal. So for example, if you're on a 3,000 calorie bulk and generally you need to take in 1,000 calories per meal, if you skip a lunch because you're busy or if your schedule doesn't allow it, now your second meal or your third meal needs to have 2 1,000 calories. And for people that don't have a big appetite, that's really, really difficult. So that's why I like to have these go-to easy meals like DINO nuggets or quesadillas, where if you're in a pinch, you can make something really, really quick and you don't have to worry about fulfilling those calories. I'm an alcoholic, which is why I love drinking root beer. No, I'm just kidding. I do love root beer and I do love soda. I don't drink it all the time, but stuff like soda, juices, any liquids that have a carb or calorie content in it is a quick and easy way to hit your carbs if that's something that you're under. Obviously, you gotta do everything in moderation. I'm not saying you gotta drink ginger ale all day long and replace that with water. These are just other tools that you can use to make sure that you continue your bulk. And even during the bulk, it seems like you don't have enough calories for your food. Diet Coke is still a really good option because it's pretty much 0 calories, 0 carbs, so you can still hit that sweet tooth and still save a ton of calories and macronutrients for the food you really want to eat. So these are just some simple tips and tricks that I like to include in my grocery shopping when I'm bulking. You gotta remember, anytime you're dieting, whether it's for bulking or cutting, consistency is key. So that's why it's really important to pick foods that are easy to make, easy to repeat, and that you can stick to so that you can achieve the goals that you want. Because ultimately, it's not something that you just nail for 1 week and you're like, okay, cool, I did this week's worth. To really get a successful bulk, you need 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Some people bulk for an entire year. So the more easily that you can replicate that process, the better. Let me know if I should go into any other forms of dieting. Maybe I could do grocery shopping for cutting, or also, since I do bounce back and forth between the American and Asian markets, maybe I could do a bulking in an Asian grocery store. Let me know in the comments below and see you guys next time.